Hello. It's been a while. Welcome to my new setup. Let me know if the sound sucks or whatever. Hang on, let me just check the sound. I think we seem to be okay. So, hi. Thought I'd try something different, which is basically just go through, riff, not worry too much about being prepared for a live stream, but actually just don't knock the table. But just sort of riff, go through some stuff, fuck around, and then maybe try to get into some editing of content after that. I think that a lot of the really good stuff for me gets lost in longer streams. So I think that the next step for me is to try and edit and actually get some ideas out there, because, there's some good stuff. You can learn some stuff. I know things. I'm not just sitting there talking about, I'm not talking shit, okay? And I do have a lot of theory behind me. Even if my words don't come out correctly, I think that it might be a good next step in me trying to conquer video. For those that don't know me, I am Taya, and I am a lot of different things to a lot of different people, but mostly I have I'm a political scientist, for lack of a better word. I've studied politics and economics, but I've also done psychology. I've been a social worker, but I also fell into web, and that where I fell was over the course of all these dumb fucks who ask me, what do you fucking do? I go, well, I fell into UX before it was a thing. UX stands for user experience. I'm more qualified than anybody with a degree in UX because it didn't fucking exist when I was doing it. I've been designing websites, been in digital for like 23 years, and I went pro, right, and decided to do sort of web work, probably around 2005 when I was on maternity leave with my son. And since then I have been digital, but I'm still a political scientist. I still understand theory, I still understand politics, and I still fucking read books. All right. I do have this sort of weird mishmash of things, but I'm a practitioner. All right. I've signed up to do my PhD, but I'm finding it excruciating, and I'm really not, honestly, I don't know if it's the right path for me, mostly because I've got plenty to say, and I could probably, with all the money and time and energy that I could spend reading, all of this stuff that I already fucking know, and all I'm basically doing is paying for an accreditation that I already have, right, to be marked by somebody who is fucking younger than me on an area that I know a lot about, because I've lived these things. And been a practitioner in it. Also the fact that, I could just write a book, and that's what I've been doing. I'm thinking that I could just write a book. So one of those things is that I do have to self-fund it. I could try to pitch a book, but again, you get those fuckwits that go, well, who are you? What did you do? You know what I've been doing? I've been working in it, like in this industry for fucking since like half of these fuckwits were born, seriously. So I've become, I'm a little bit aged out. I'm a bit out to pasture. I pay my bills with sort of ad hoc freelance consulting design work. It's not my happy place, right? But it pays the bills. Okay. My happy place is in policy and really criticizing and critiquing this industry that I signed up for without question, and evangelized and supported. I pushed my kids online. I made all the fucking mistakes. And then, around 2010, 2011, the marketers took over, the tech companies took over, and they turned it into this fucking mess of psyops. I'm not going to, fucking go say that this is like Orwell. I'm sick of that. It's a cliche. But, we're living in a fucking some sort of dystopian Walden 2 fucking weird ass psyops. We are in some sort of war, And I think we are fighting a different war that we don't have words for yet. I've been reading a little bit actually about, not reading a little bit, reading quite a lot actually about the history of totalitarianism. And before it happened, they couldn't describe it. There was no word for it. Okay, before Nazi Germany rose, there was no word for, there was no real word for it. They really weaponized persuasion, and that's what I'm going to talk about a little bit today. Again, I'm riffing. I will be taking a lot of this stuff and editing it into clips. I figured that if I just talk and relax and meander, then those who want to watch me live can, and those who don't, well, you can have a fucking clip. Also, you can fuck off. If you want to pay me to do full-time fucking content and be prepared and hold me to this an impossible standard and compare me to someone like Joe Rogan or Tim Pool who actually fucking have resources, then you can go fuck yourself. I just knocked the table. I apologize. Welcome to my channel. Aren't I a fucking nice person? I'm just sick of... You know what? Like, I've been watching these... I wrote a song in my mind I haven't really written it down, but I've been humming it. And it's a song that's about like an audio guy. You know those guys in fucking, those fuckwits. I've been watching, one of the greatest things to come out of this lockdown is Ben Folds and his live streams. I'm a big fan of Ben Folds. And there's always people complaining about the fucking sound. The levels aren't good. This is not to my requirements. Your lighting's bad. Your camera's bad. You're doing this wrong. You're doing this right. You try doing it. Okay, it's really actually fucking hard. I've spent a year trying to learn how to do this stuff, right? And I had production skills. I used to, I've always been good with video. I can edit, I can do it. I know what I'm doing. I've done it for clients, right? And it's hard, okay? So, and this is for free. So if you want to pay for me to have a full-time producer and for me to be able to be freed up to write my book and to write my content that everyone wants for free, then by all means, then you get a say. Otherwise, you can just sit back and enjoy this and shut the fuck up and stop complaining about shit that you don't know anything about. I'm sick of these fucking bros who complain about flickering this and lights and sound. This is not to my requirements. If it's not to my requirements, then fuck off. No one's forcing you to watch anything, okay? Just go away. Stop complaining. All right. Fuck off, audio bros, all right? Rogan has probably invested about $100,000 in his studio gear, okay? There you go. Now, excuse me. I don't know. That was a tangent that I didn't expect to go on. I'm a bit grumpy today. Can you tell? Anyway, if you don't know me, that's me. So I sort of bounce between, I have my day job, the thing that will allow me to pay my bills, because no tech companies like me, and I live in the wrong city for that kind of consulting work, and because I critique the industry, and I'm usually a couple of years ahead, so I see the writing on the wall, and I look. There's a great quote, which is that you can always tell the pioneer because they've got the arrows in their back. That's me, man. I'm always ahead. I'm always just that little bit too far ahead to capitalize. So it's a weird career, but I have a lot to share. So a lot of things to say, and whatever. I don't know. Let's have a coffee. This is a giant coffee mug. Anyway, so what was I going to talk about? I've got a few things that I want to talk about, and I'm hoping to keep it COVID-free because I think we're all fucking sick of that shit. Bit over it. And also, I'm, increasingly concerned about all of these things that are being sort of slipped in and this very gentle overreach that's happening with governments. I haven't installed the app. I'm not going to install the app. I don't trust the government, and they're proving me true, which is the fact that if you need to bully and call people fucking the equivalent of anti-vaxxers to try and make people basically gently encourage people to bully their friends and fucking call them names in order to accept your shitty, broken, privacy breaching app, then I'm not fucking interested, and I will pay the fine and I will go to jail. I've been fucking turfed for 3 fucking years. I've been called every name under the sun, and people have been wrong. And I'm not going to be bullied into accepting certain things just because a pack of fucking idiots aren't critical thinkers. So, all right, I was right about the app. I was right about this government. And if you are being transparent and above board, you don't need to bully people into installing it. You do not need to coerce them to. I would do it if I trusted it, and I don't trust it. I don't trust this government at all. Okay. Anyway. Apparently we can get digital prescriptions now. Yeah, I trust that too. Fuck off. Anyway, all of this nonsense, right? And I know I've got to be careful, obviously, because of, certain people. And I live in a small town, and one of the darlings of this small town is a health tech company who likes to breach privacy, and I know a lot about because of, the relationships that I have there. And fucking evil. Okay? Health data, using that shit to sell this is not what I signed up for. I did not sign up and promote these things to do this. It's just so evil. I can't, this is why I can't in good conscience, anyway, fucking whatever. It's too many thoughts at once, Taya. Okay. No one's fucking listening. See, the thing about Streamlabs is that you can also see how many viewers you've got. And I've got, I think, 2 people watching. That's all right. That's fine. This is the stuff that will be edited out. I also just realised that I got my shirt on backwards. So it's a good day. Anyway, let's get to something smart. All right. Okay, so I can't go through today. I can't do a stream today without at least talking about this fucking Twitter experiment that's going on. Now, everyone's losing their minds a bit, and I think that there's something to be said. I understand from the design team's point of view what they're trying to do. Because again, remember, I've worked in this field for all of my adult life. Okay, I know what they're trying to do. I signed up for this stuff because I bought the bullshit. I bought this idea that we could, as designers, we could nudge people in towards positive behaviors, and there's that whole benevolent design idea, right? It's called persuasive design. There's lots of different words for it, but there's a whole other side to the sword with this stuff, which is the fact that this is fucking also a weapon. And with Twitter's history, right? Again, I truly believe they're trying to do the right thing. I do. However, they think they're the good guys. Everyone thinks they're the good guys. That's the thing, right? Everybody thinks they're the good guys. I think I'm right. I could be wrong. I could well be like everything that these people, these woke fucks say that is wrong. I could be a terrible, bad person who's gradually been radicalized with words, right? Clearly they don't realize that I'm actually intelligent and can tell the difference. But, I'm saying I'm open to the idea that I could be wrong, and that, but everyone's the hero of their own fucking story, right? Twitter thinks they're doing the right thing, and there is a real problem. Until you free speech bros, right, admit that there's actually an intractable, that's the problem that we've got here. We can't have good policy until we can name the problem. And the problem is, in all of these things, is that there are no black and white answers to very real problems. Okay? Hate speech, radicalization, violence, threats. They are real problems. Now, the problem that we have is that these tech companies are relying too much on machine learning, okay, and AI and all those other magic words and technology and all of these things in order to deal with these problems at scale, okay? And the problem is that they are too fucking stupid. Not Twitter and Facebook, the algorithms, okay? Zuckerberg has said many times, as has Jack, that relying on machine learning tools now is premature. They aren't ready. We're about 10 years away from a good AI tool that can actually, like, even remotely detect hate speech. All they can do is we're being pushed at every fucking angle, right? Because of fucking bots. Bots and automation and troll farms and all those fucking bad guys who want to manipulate elections. Okay, I've talked about this in previous feeds, so I'm not going to go on too much about this. But this is a real problem that we need to acknowledge and we need to address, and we need to admit that we can't fucking address it and the technology doesn't exist, okay? I got into a back and forth yesterday with some woman, right? And she called herself a Zionist in her profile and then acts surprised when everyone fucking goes after her. And I was trying to explain that by using that word on Twitter, right, there are a number of hate speech bots. Like, I would argue that probably about 70% of the people that are fucking harassing her are probably bots. 30% are legit serious fucking haters, but they're the same thing. You put the keyword there, the bot can search the keyword. Okay? If you say you're a feminist, the fucking the MAGAs and the fucking MRAs, they're all fucking there and they'll harass you. You're asking for it. And I'm not saying, and then she's like, well, I shouldn't have to hide. I said, well, then that's the trade-off. That's the fucking trade-off. Okay? And it's the same thing with, gender critical feminists who, fucking hell, can I digress for a second and say, fucking hell, everyone, chill out. Your purity bullshit can fuck off too. Anyway, I like you all. I have you all have good things to say, and I don't want to be sitting there being fucking forced to pick a side. I'm sick of this shit. I'm sick of this tribal bullshit. You're all fucking nuts. Anyway, pull your heads in. But this is an example, right? But that is a very good example. If you put an emoji that tells you that you're on Spinster, that means that people can search for that fucking thing and harass you. Bots can search for it. If you put if you put pronouns in your bio, okay, that becomes a searchable fucking term for people who want to harass people with pronouns in their bios. If you say that you're a feminist, people can search on that and then the bots can harass you. These farms exist. They exist purely to argue. You can tell, like, they're getting actually pretty sophisticated. It's actually pretty interesting. Because even if they're not a bot and they're a human, it's quite remarkable how human-like bots can be and how bot-like humans can be, okay? If you're confused for a bot, you should be offended, okay? It's the same thing with me. Like, if people can say whatever the fuck they want about me because I know what's true, but at the same time, if someone thinks that I'm fucking racist, that concerns me, okay? I'm not going to cave to their bullshit coercive psychology, right? And I'm not going to buy their magic words that tell me to shut up because that's just not how I operate. And I'm going to ask questions and I'm going to, but at the same time, you can't be proud of being these things, okay? It's not funny, all right? So that said, what was my point? Welcome to Taya's fucking tangent wandering fucking coffee drinking game. I don't know. Anyway, I'm putting myself under less pressure to be on, and I can have a moment, and I can stop in my stream, and I can think. If you're around, then write a question or something and ask me a thing, okay? But, okay, the thing that you need to understand about Twitter, the context for what I want to talk about, is that there's a problem with bots at scale, at volume. There is a problem with violence and threats at scale, okay? We cannot physically put enough people reading Twitter. I swear to God, I think that there's a bunch of people who think that Jack sits reading tweets or something and just going, yep, no. Like, I swear to God, some people really just don't know how this tech works. It's like you can't fathom the scale that we're dealing with, especially during an election year, especially when you've got things like, I mean, fucking hell. I mean, when you've got the president. But even, again, like, when the media have fucked up big time with this, because they should be at least a small source of truth, but they're not. They can't be trusted either. We can't trust anybody to tell us the truth anymore. And that's worrying. Okay. So anyway, I was going to talk about Twitter's swearing experiment, and then somehow 22 minutes in, I'm not watching the time anymore. Watch, don't watch. I'll edit. But, you know, like, I'm someone who has copped heat for swearing. I remember actually, because I'm doing a lot of reflecting, thinking, and writing down notes, trying to sort of remember a lot of my story, like through this book that I'm writing. And I remember being at an event in fucking Perth. These fucking fuckwits. Perth business fuckwits. Okay, anyone who's from Perth knows what I'm talking about. All right, they're all just, ugh. Anyway, I was on a panel, and they just couldn't fathom. Actually, I went on a rant this morning. I want to talk about this. I'd forgotten about this, but the first time that I was showcased in the paper, like as an influencer or whatever the fuck, when Twitter was new, when journalists didn't even know what it was, right? And this was all a novelty, and I was new. Do you know what they did? They did a profile on me, right? 5 years as a web designer, political scientist who turned web designer, who had worked on political campaigns using social media in order to do that, right? And they fucking, I remember this, and I'm pretty sure I remember telling off the journalist involved at the time, because they said that I was basically a mum who tweeted, right? That's all you need to know about this fucking town anyway. It's like, I could code. I was making applications. I had celebrity clients. I had fucking, you know, I think Wacos were a client at that time, right? I had a number of politicians on, and I was writing down a lot of stuff that proved to be quite prophetic. And then only for these fucks to turn around and fixate, for some reason, they couldn't possibly fathom why I might use Twitter and might swear as a business, you know, and it's like, fuck off. There is context to this, because now Twitter's basically being these cunts. Swearing police. Oh my God. Can you imagine Americans determining what we can and can't say? I'll be using the word cunt an awful lot. Trust me. I'm going to defend it. Even though I have two minds, which is the libertarian part of me goes, you know, fuck you. The second you tell me I can't do something. Oh, that's right. I was telling you about the panel. That's where I was leading. This panel and this dumb fucking bitch. Oh my God. They're so stupid. And they're so stupid. And now she's working as some sort of fucking social media expert influencer. You know, the type that basically fucking use their boyfriend's money and, you know, fuck their way into just made all the right relationships, let's put it that way, to get all the right money to run conferences and fucking sit around flirting and shit, actually not saying anything of substance, just being the fucking henchman of the man, right? This dumb cunt goes, why do you swear on Twitter? Do you know what my answer was? My answer to why do you swear on Twitter was because people like you don't want me to swear on Twitter. And she fucking, you're unprofessional. This was when I was, people don't understand the kind of heat that I caught in my career, right, for being different, right? Hi, B. Any of your posts, on Facebook? Probably not. That's the first one that I've seen. So B said, can you see any of my posts? And the answer appears to be no. Sorry, I have changed my software and Facebook is sort of a little bit fucking, it's always been a bit, maybe you're commenting on my personal Facebook page, not the page. I've noticed that it seems to bug out sometimes. Anyway. There we go. Okay, so Facebook's not working if you want to chat. I'm sorry about that. Okay. If it was a question, put it back on, because that gives me a chance to, and also make sure you keep me on track. So because what I can do is, if I said that I was going to say X, Y, Z, and then I go off on a fucking random ass tangent calling everyone in Perth a cunt, like I just did, mate, you can just help me and remind me that I was going to talk about this thing that you really want to hear about. Okay, good. And then I can edit it into something a bit more coherent. So I need your help to keep me on track. Anyway, so no, but yeah, I remember this because I had these fucking corporate LinkedIn stupid cunts the swearing police, and they didn't understand it, right? I was on Twitter. I was working at the time in tech, right? Pioneer, arrows in the back, all that sort of shit, right? Fucking, why do you swear on Twitter? Fuck. How big a one-horse town is Perth? I wouldn't say it's a one-horse town. It's more like a series of dumbass horses. It's more like a fucking, you know those, what are they called? The husky. You know the dog, what are the sleds with a million huskies all going in the same direction? I don't think they even understand what a horse is. Okay, they're still on fucking dog sleds. And there's 8 people who are dumb as fuck, right? All pulling the sled in the one direction. Fucking assholes. Sorry, huskies. I didn't mean to compare you to the fucking fuckwits in Perth. There's some good people here, but you get someone alone for about 5 minutes and I know whether they're cool or not. It's just really, it's like this big monoculture of like business and corporate and stupid, oh my God, stupid people. Like, oh my God. Like, I've got a friend who's copping a lot of heat, and she's in tech, right? She's a friend of mine, and she's getting a lot of heat because she refuses to install the COVID app. And I refuse to install the COVID app. And all of these dumb fucks are basically like, you're like an anti-vaxxer. No, do you know why? Because anti-vaxxer, okay, let me go off on another fucking rant. The difference between an anti-vaxxer, okay, and someone who refuses to install the app is evidence. Okay? And we aren't being fucking told and bullied by everybody. It's not just, oh, I've done my own research. Fucking privacy experts are telling you, don't install that fucking thing. It doesn't work. And there's a fucking it's like the data's leaking left, right, and center. It's a leaky bucket. Do not trust this fucking government. That's the difference. Okay? You can try to position people. I've been like I said, I've been fucking positioned as a kook my whole fucking life, and I've always been right. All right? You don't just get to choose what experts you listen to, okay? Fuck. The difference between anti-vaxxers and people who don't have very reasonable and substantial objections to tracing, okay, is that this government have fucking decided to openly encourage people to bully their friends into installing an app that doesn't fucking work. Anyway, that was related to Perth, which is that they're all dummies and they're all like fucking, let's install Health Engine. It's just for booking appointments. Fucking next minute, sharing data with insurance companies. Fuck you for all of that. It's not what we signed up for. It's not what I signed up for, and it's why I've fucking quit this business. And it's why I fucking break my heart. Anyway, I signed up to this fucking thing. I gave up my political career, my policy career, anything that looked like a fucking decent legacy to back a horse that fucked me. Not literally. If you've seen the video with Paul from last week, that's weird. It just got weird. I'm saying that thing has turned around and just royally fucked me. They changed the deal on us, right? And I'm so mad. And the fact that people who are in Gen X like me, who sort of learned on the fly, bought this utopian idea of what the internet was, signed up for it, and became complicit in all of this just astonishingly evil shit, okay? Like, and I'm a fucking anti-vaxxer? No. Oh, that makes me so fucking mad. Because I know what you're doing and I'm not falling for it. And this is linked to fucking the Twitter thing. Now, LinkedIn have been doing this for a while. So, anyway. But again, I can understand it. I can defend it because I'm a UX designer. I worked in this shit. I work in persuasion. But don't fucking lie about what you're doing, okay? It's social. There's a very fine line between benevolent fucking helping and gentle fucking nudges and social engineering, all right? And you're fucking, it's just that line is, they're walking on that line, okay? A lot. All right? And anybody who calls them out, fucking, nah. Fuck that. Like I said, this is shit worth dying for. I swear to God. Anyway, so let me do a screen share. Twitter tests. Now, if this is like, I hope the quality is okay on screen share. Again, I've switched to an old iMac with Windows running on it so that I could use Streamlabs and sort of keep that separate from my work machine. If there's any feedback you want to give me, despite my rant about tech bros and that sort of stuff, I'm dealing with what I've got. All right? If anyone wants to fucking give me money, then go for it. Till then, shut the fuck up. Anyway, so Twitter, like this, I saw this yesterday. I don't know if I'm a bit behind. Maybe I am. But Twitter is running a new experiment. Hang on, let me get my mouse. Twitter tests asking iOS users to cut it out with the swearing, for Christ's sakes. Okay. I'm going to read this out. Twitter is pretty sure you could all be a little nicer. Really? The social media company that's practically synonymous with trolls today announced an effort aimed at making its platform a more civil place. Okay. Remember Jack Dorsey, the free speech wing of the free speech party? Now it's just synonymous with trolls. Okay. It's not synonymous with trolls. It's synonymous with free speech. And that's what we were sold. And then they turned around and made it the opposite of that. Okay. And stop knocking the table. Sorry. So, the social media company that's practically synonymous with trolls today announced an effort aimed at making its platform a more civil place. You can't! Specifically, a limited subset of iOS users will be presented with a gentle nudge. Not psychological warfare, it's just a gentle nudge. Okay? Are you sure you want to do that? Are you sure? You might get banned. Trust me, I'll argue the other side as well. I'm just going to get through this article. I'm skeptical because I don't trust Twitter. Okay, I don't trust. I understand what they're saying and what they're doing, and it's the same thing like this COVID app. Okay, you can only determine intent and future behavior and predict future behavior based on past behavior and past decisions. Now, I get that this is hard. I get that these are big problems, but fuck me, this slippery. I do not trust these people to make the right decisions. I just don't. Okay. Until they reinstate Megan Murphy, I don't trust them. Okay. Anyway, so of course, it's not exactly clear what Twitter considers. Oh, sorry, hang on, let's go back. So, specifically, a limited subset of iOS users will be presented with a gentle nudge when attempting to tweet potentially harmful trash. It's fucking what makes Twitter fun. I keep thinking, do you know what? Basically, they've designed an interface with that dumb cunt at that event that asked me why I swore on Twitter. They managed to program that stupid bitch into the app. And do you know why I swear on Twitter? Because people like you tell me I can't. Okay? I'm one of the very few people who can swear like a fucking sailor and still explain a point, a very complex point. So anyway, you don't get to fucking tell me what to do. That's the thing, right? Even if I understand where they're coming from, everything that I understand, and I will defend them a bit, the second that's like, fucking tell me what to do, that's it. You can't fucking tell me what to do. Fuck you. I'm going to start saying cunt every second word now. Okay. Anyway, so it's not exactly clear what Twitter considers to be harmful trash, right? Exactly. And the answer to that is that means their definitions are very broad, very much informed by blue hair, fucking blue check, woke fucks who want to censor everything and everybody they disagree with. That's Twitter's definition, okay? They say that it's hate speech. Now, I was actually going to do a whole thing about thought-terminating cliches. I've been working on that. But then this article came and I thought, fuck it. But the thing is that you need to understand if there's, okay, let me think. Because we can edit, I can just stop falling over my words and re-say what I was going to say, which is if there is one skill that you need in 2020, well, you should fucking have it already, but if you don't, get it, which is to understand how things like loaded language works, how persuasion works, and how framing works, okay? And also, when you're talking about the difference between theory and application, the problem with critical theory becoming applied, and when I say applied, I mean in terms of law and policy, it is that it is incredibly fucking dangerous, okay? Now, critical theory has its place as a sandbox, okay? A sandbox of ideas, I'm all about that, right? I'm all about examining power and bias and all of those sorts of things. But when you start turning that into law and policy and apply it, holy shitballs. Non-binary is not a fucking thing in law. It shouldn't be in law. Men aren't women in law because there are material. We need to make laws and policies based on fact. So don't fucking call me a fucking anti-vaxxer when you fucking believe in non-binary genders, which doesn't fucking exist. You fucking morons. Anyway, where did I go? Oh yeah, we're talking about this article. The Karen thing is see, that's the thing, right? Like everything, there's two sides, and then the truth, there's three sides to every story, right? There's one side one, side two, and actually the fact that it's both things are true, right? Which is that the Karen meme is a stereotype for a certain middle-aged woman, right, who asked to talk to the manager, right? Started out funny. Like every fucking thing, there's always that person that ruins the fucking joke, takes the joke too seriously, overtags the joke, and the joke's not funny anymore, all right? And then it becomes a thing, like this okay boomer nonsense and all this sort of stuff, right? I just ignore. I actually can, and the thing is, both things can be true. I can acknowledge how funny that is, right? Because I'm not. Slurs, okay. All right. Here's another thought. Tangent. Remind me to go back to the fucking article, would you? All right, let me go back to Main Shot. Main Shot is what I call my Streamlabs thing. I was talking to my phone. So, the Karen thing. It's okay for both thoughts to be true at the same time, okay? This is something that frustrates me. It's like, and this is one of those things that annoys me about a lot of this tribal shit with gender, is that we're constantly having to pick a side where both sides have a point. And because I think my background has been in material and in policy, and policy in particular, the actual discipline, it is about synthesis of ideas into workable, collaborative, something that everyone can live with, okay? Politics is ultimately about consensus, okay? The works will tell you it's all about power, but it's not. Politics is about consensus and finding consensus between competing groups. If you're doing politics right, if you're doing, and by politics I mean democratic politics, pluralism, right? That's pluralism is an ideal, right, for democracy. If you're doing that correctly, then, and you are pluralistic in your thinking, okay? I've talked about this in previous streams, and I can elaborate a bit more in detail if people want, but it is a bit boring, right? But if you are pluralist in your thinking as opposed to elitist or populist, right? You'll hear these words thrown around, but pluralism is sort of an ideal, is that you've got multiple groups with multiple meanings, with multiple agendas, you bring it all together and you try to work together. You try to coexist, you try to form laws, and law, policy, government sit somewhere in the middle there trying to get people to negotiate and work together, okay? Now, the works will tell you that that's all just white male power. It's not! It's just, it is to an extent, again, valid critiques. But policy is an art, and seriously, the biggest problem we've ever had is people saying, I don't want politicians to be politicians. Because being a politician is actually a real fucking thing. It's a real job. Being able to sit down with two people and facilitate opposing points of view and synthesize them into into policy, right? Or to come up to some sort of middle ground. That's what the Greens actually used to be. The Greens actually used to be about consensus and finding consensus. The meetings were fucking 6 hours long, but you'd eventually get to a point where nobody got 100% of what they wanted, but everyone got about 80%. Okay. And that's what politics is. That's what policy is. That's what democracy should be. And for some reason, if you are sitting there having this zero-sum approach to policy, and I don't give a fuck what that policy is, okay? And that's where I'm going to start talking about, I'll get back to the Karen thing in a minute, okay? But this zero-sum game, it doesn't work, okay? And if you think like that, then you don't understand what politics is, and you are a lobbyist, not a politician. Okay. And if you're a journo who fucking supports this zero-sum nonsense, you too are a propagandist and a lobbyist. You are not a journalist. Journalists and lawyers and bureaucrats and policy people and politicians, they do the hard work. They do the hard work, okay, of trying to fucking make some sense out of all your nonsense. Now, the reason why I started on that rant was because this one hit the gender critical, this one hit the feminist crew, right? Where B said the Karen meme is positioning white middle class aged women as the source of all oppression in the world. Yes, I agree, okay? Also, it's funny. It is funny, okay? Sometimes we can let it go and find something funny. Okay. And yes, and that was where there was a big split. women, seriously, fucking hell, do you know why women aren't in power? Because you're too busy fucking nitpicking and bitching. Oh my God. Okay, anyway. So that was my point, which was that both things can be true at the same time, which is that Karen's funny. Fucking neighbours. I like Mrs. Mangle, Esme Watson from A Country Practice. They're all busybody. It's just a version of that. It's funny, right? But you don't need to overthink it, okay? And also you don't need to attack Julie Blindell just because she holds a view that something that might be a joke. It's her job to educate people on feminist thought, okay? And to point it out and go, hey, that might be a bit fucking sexist, okay? Now, the problem is that, and this is the thing where a bunch of young idiots, this is the problem, I think, with virality in general and viral content and social media in general, right? Which is that I think I've got a pinned tweet at the moment on my account, which is a GIF, which is that thing from The Simpsons where it's like, are you going to marry a carrot, Lisa? And she goes, yes, I'm going to marry a carrot. And they go, she admitted it. That's basically the whole fucking thing. It's like, no, it's like, don't be a fucking fuckwit. Anyway, but yes, and the thing is, Julie Blindell had a point. It is dismissive. Sorry, to go back to what B said, that it's misogynistic and dismissive, particularly of second wave feminists. Yes, and that's the problem, right? But we can still laugh at it. And I still call my friend Karen and I call myself Karen and I think it's fucking hilarious. Okay? It's still funny. Both things can be true at once. Yeah. And there's always those people, and I think a lot of the problem with a lot of these tribal things, right? And I think as I'm developing my thoughts around just internet tribes in general, so you've got 4chan and Tumblr and you've got fucking all these like normies in the middle who have no idea what's going on. And then you've got, so in every single group, okay, and this is what I was trying to explain to the person who put Zionist in her fucking profile, okay, and then was complaining at the harassment she received. And I said, well, then don't put Zionist in your profile. Don't put feminist in your profile. Don't put the spider emoji if you don't want to attract TRAs. Like, don't do that. It's like, that's just dumb. And yes, I get that you shouldn't. The slippery slope to censorship is so fucking big. Anyway, my point with her was, yes, but most of it's bots. She wouldn't listen to me. She's just assumed that they were real people. But also that in every single tribe, no matter which tribe it is, okay, yes, including gender critical feminists or second wave feminists, including the good guys, including the Nazis, including fucking gamers, including 4chan, including Tumblr, including every fucking group that you've ever fucking imagined, okay? There's going to be the 10% of fuckwits who first of all don't realise that it's a joke, second of all take the joke too far, and third of all really fucking, okay, I'm going to liken this to, like a Doug Stanhope comedy show or Louis C.K. or who am I trying to think of? Some of the, those comedies that are a bit dark. And I know quite a few comedians, right? And there's always those couple of people. Oh, here we go. Here's a good example. All right. Chopper, right? Heath Franklin, Chopper. He's an Australian. He's very funny. And the thing about that is that when you go to the live show, there's 10% of people in that room who don't understand the irony of it. They actually legit think, saying fucking bang, and he's making fun of that character. He is not embodying those beliefs, okay? It's people who don't get irony, right, in every single group. And the Karen thing is a really good example of that, which is that there's those who get that it's a joke, laugh at themselves, okay? Gamers, it actually, you know what? It kind of links to one of the things I wanted to talk about as well, which is the war on gaming culture and Steam and all of this fucking bullshit with the ADL trying to police games for hate speech, where it's like they just don't get, the ADL should not touch games. If they can't even determine whether a fucking okay emoji is racist or not, they should not be touching gaming culture because they don't get it, okay? But every single tribe has this portion of fuckwits, right, who don't realize that there's irony, and they don't, again, I'm excluding the extremists, right, who are like, let's say the Ku Klux, no one goes to the Ku Klux Klan for a joke, for lols, okay? I'm talking about your most benign, kinds of groups. Joe Rogan's crew, all of those little tribes that build around these guys. But there is a small portion of those people who are fuckwits, okay? And they're going to latch on to anything that allows them to be more of a fuckwit and double down on being a fuckwit. But that doesn't mean that we should lose sight of the fact that most people are reasonable, most people can just converse, and most people can have a fucking laugh. I remember being at a concert. It was actually at a Chopper show, and there was this full-on bogan guy, and he just would not shut up, all right? And he didn't get that Chopper was actually an ironic character, but he was like, no, you're like, there's always those people that just kind of mean like a joke that's a little bit racist, and then they're kind of laughing in a way that is very different to the way everyone else is laughing, like they don't realize that this is not like an actual racist show. It was making, like there's a few of those with Gervais's crew as well, where they just they don't get irony. Anyway, that was my point. Okay, I wandered off, but yeah, it's the okay boomer thing. It's pretty funny, right? And then all the autistic fuckwits on Twitter, plus bots. Please be more fucking aware of bots. Most of them are just bots, okay? And if you've got emojis and you're basically just putting up a flag saying come at me if you're putting all of those things in there. Don't do it, okay? It's basic SEO, okay? Don't put terms that will make you findable to the people who hate you, especially divisive ones. So anyway, I wandered off, but that was the thing, right? It's the same thing where we need to be able to hold two thoughts in our head at the same time, and that's be okay. Okay, so Karen is a good example of that, which is that Karen's funny. And I fucking quarantine Karen, all these people that are fucking, bitching and moaning about people leaving their house and policing. There's always going to be that 10% of fuckwits that take everything literally, take it too far and overreach, and they're authoritarian, busybody fucks. And Karen, I'm sorry, but Karen encompasses it. It's unfortunate that that's her name, but, whatever. We all know who we're talking about, all right? Anyway, so... But that doesn't mean then that because fucking Julie Blundell said one thing that you disagree with, that suddenly you don't agree with everything that she says anymore. I mean, that's another thing with this whole fucking trans thing. I'm getting sick of the absolute shit. This is another one of those issues where everyone's so polarized, and the answer is that both ideas are true at the same time, which is, there comes a point where the conversation is not productive anymore, and we need to just fucking shut the fuck up and start moving forward and not let one side dictate to the other. We need to hear both sides and try to find a middle ground, okay? And where there is no middle ground, we need to be creative and start thinking outside the box and try to find new fucking solutions, like third toilets and telling people to just grow the fuck up, okay? And that it's not about them, all right? Put some adults in the room. And you know what? All of this is a consequence of people voting for people who aren't real politicians. Yeah, this is the consequence of that. Real politicians, I've been involved in politics since I've faded out because, I just got busy. But at the same time, politicians have spent their entire life talking to people about issues and forming policy, being in committees, showing up to meetings, talking to everybody, legislating. You don't think that's a skill? Being able to actually sit down with people and find middle ground? That's a fucking art form, especially at the moment, right? And so maybe what we do need to do is start voting for politicians again and not fucking dickheads with opinions. Right? Screaming Baby Jones said, thanks, back to Twitter. Yes. So, anyway, that's not unrelated, right? Which is this tribal bullshit, right? You've got Twitter in the middle as a platform, right? I want to think that they're in the middle trying to do the job that I'm talking about, right? Sitting around being reasonable. But I also happen to know that the committees and people that they consult with, they're not fucking balanced in any way. They're zero-sum thinkers, right? And I just know that, that until they reinstate the people that they have fucked over, like, I'm not going to fucking whatever. Whoever whatever tribal leader has been banned from Twitter, right? Until they fix that stuff and admit they fucked up and admit that they got it wrong, then they're not. I'm not their fan. I can see what they're doing. Okay, so anyway, let's get back to the article, shall we? This is why I like doing this sort of freeform live stream, but I'm taking the time pressure off now, because at least then there might even be a little bit of a ranty clip that was unrelated to what I was doing. And anyway. So let's do this again. All right. Screen share. Okay. Let's go back to the article. So, Twitter tests asking iOS users to cut it out with the swearing, for Christ's sakes. Okay. So, when things get heated, you may say things you don't mean. To let you rethink a reply, we're running a limited experiment on iOS with a prompt that gives you the option to revise your reply before it's published if it uses language that could be harmful. Okay? Now, this is something where you need my spidey senses go harmful, hate speech, problematic, those things, because that just it's so loaded now with like the Karens, right? The real Karens, not the fucking pretend ones. See, the thing about the wokes is that they project. The reason why they've invented this Karen meme is because that's what they're doing. They're just projecting, right? So, I don't want to keep talking about the gender critical stuff for this. I'd like to go a bit broader, if that's okay. Mostly because I think all of the arguments have been had at this point, if I'm honest with you. And I think that we need to move forward to try and win. I'm hoping that the flip side of this virus will be that we have gotten away from that we've had a moment to breathe and a moment to, well, not some people. Is that a bad joke? Should I be laughing at that joke? Probably not. Anyway. Yeah. And actually, B says the Karen meme is basically their mum, and that's actually interesting because one of the real strategies with this cult is alienating children from their parents. Okay. And yes, every generation there's a separation that occurs, where I'm going through it at the moment, but at the same time, painting your parents, it's grooming 101. Painting your parents as the enemy that don't get it. This is very dangerous stuff. When a group or a political organization starts alienating you from your parents and your family and the people who love you, right? That's a cult. Okay, so Karen fits in the broader spectrum the broader context of this is that the Karen meme is actually cult symbology. It's an archetype, right? That is used to alienate teenagers, particularly teenage girls, from their mums. So, the misogynists have latched onto it, as have the young wokes. But I think that it's, again, something that's become more sinister. Like, people talk a lot about these dog whistles for the alt-right, but the left have their own as well. And Karen probably fits very much into one of those signs and symbols that communicate a certain alienation from their mothers, and how their mothers are out of date, bigots, right? All of that sort of stuff. There's actually quite a lot to, just realizing that there's actually a lot to unpack with that, in terms of, if you look at it through cult psychology and cult symbols. Interesting. Stumbled on something there. Let's go. Anyway, so yeah, that's the semiotics of that is actually very interesting. But we need to stop that. The problem with this is that I would argue you could, if you were going to argue for the OK symbol being a dog whistle or hate symbol on the right, you could argue actually that the Karen meme is a similar thing on the left, right? And that's where the imbalance lies. So anyway, interesting. Hadn't thought about that. So thanks, V. You're awesome. I hope you're well. Are you keeping well? Actually, are you keeping well? I haven't. I use Facebook to broadcast, but I don't spend much time on there. I'm trying to slice my time a lot more productively. So I work 3 days a week, and I use Twitter to keep engagement up because I'm trying to grow a channel. I'm trying to build my personal brand, and I don't have a lot of time to do in-depth writing and all of that proper stuff because it's a chicken and the egg problem. So I do work 3 days a week. And then I spend Thursdays and Fridays on content, which is what you're seeing today. And I'm trying to have a weekend because, but we've got a lot of stuff going on at the moment. So, I don't keep up with my friends very much, and I feel bad. I'm actually a really bad friend because people think because I post on Facebook regularly or post on Twitter, a lot of it's pre-scheduled. On Mondays, Tuesdays and Wednesdays, usually I have social media turned off and I schedule posts. I mean, I'll get in there. I've been a bit grumpy lately. I've been in pain, so I'm moaning a lot, but yeah, I feel bad because I haven't been checking in on people and people think I'm on there, but I'm not. And I just wanted to ask how you are, but we'll talk. Let's talk after this. What was I going to say? Anyway, the choice, I don't know. I just feel like I want to do some separate content, actually. I was thinking of pre-recording it today after this, actually, which is sort of the de-wokening part 3, which is I went through this process where I've been on the left my whole life, right? What the fuck? I nearly died a couple of weeks ago, got taken into hospital, unable to walk, thinking I'd been parachuted. What the fuck? Jesus, B, I had no idea. Fuck these can I just say, fuck these algorithms, man. Fuck this. Do you know this has happened before where a friend of mine, a mutual friend of a number of people, actually, I don't know if Peter's still here, but someone that we knew, Miss Atari, from the Spin Starts Here. I've been friends with her for many, many years. We found out she died 3 months later because a friend of mine went to her profile and to see that it had been memorialized. You'd think that would fucking... Jesus. You know, the one thing that I want people to know is if I die, you know, I don't really want them to care about my food. It's meaningless. Holy shit, man. If you'd have gone, I'd never have forgiven myself because I'm really bad at replying to messages and fucking stuff. I get the message and then I go, I'll reply to that later. And then that's not, it disappears. It's not you. I love you. Anyway, but seriously, you'd think that that's kind of important. 3 months. And I had no idea that my friend that I had known for 20 years had died because I didn't know. Fuck. Fuck, get your shit together, Facebook. Seriously. So, this stuff is really hurting people. And it's related to the swearing on Twitter. So, okay. Anyway, so more importantly, okay, Twitter is not preventing anyone from sending the tweet in question. So what I'll do is I'll read this in a sarcastic voice and then I'll explain their thinking, okay? I'm going to try and do something a little educational and positive. Again, both things can be true. I can think that this is terrible and fucking revolting and disgusting and also kind of go, whoa, I get what they're trying to do, but I don't trust it's not the message, it's the messenger, right? This is an example of that. But so importantly, Twitter is not preventing anyone from sending the tweet. Okay. Rather, it will offer a dialogue box with the stated goal of making you think hard about whatever you're in the process of tweeting. You can leave anytime you want, but would you mind telling us why? It's got that fucking psychology. It's just chilling, right? And only if it's a reply to another tweet. Now, again, I'll explain why that is. So, because if you've watched my previous videos, you'll understand that there are particular patterns that get you suspended. So what I think is that what they're trying to do is actually bringing some transparency to what might be confusing for people because they don't understand why they were banned. I think I was explaining this in a couple of previous videos, right? Which is there's a number of signals, okay, that Twitter looks at. And what they're doing is bringing that to the surface and telling you, right, what they did wrong. So again, both things can be true at once. I can hate this and love this at the same time. And this is probably why I've had such a shitty career, because my two disciplines, which is UX design and tech and politics, are in direct conflict with each other. So I sit here going, as a nerd, this is as a design nerd, this is fucking amazing and impressive thinking and impressive stuff. As on the other side, I'm like, fucking burn it to the ground. So I'm trying to find the fucking middle ground between those two things being true at the same time trying to reconcile it within my own head. Okay. So anyway, author Chuck Wendig apparently triggered the warning intentionally in response to the news. Language like this could lead to someone reporting your reply, read the Twitter pop-up box. But you can change it before sending. Now, what's also important to note is that LinkedIn already do this, right? So LinkedIn have actually been doing this for about 2 years already, okay? Speaking of burning fucking social platforms with fire, let's look at LinkedIn, shall we? But this is one of these LinkedIn has always had these prompts, right? Especially on the mobile app as well, right? So if I wrote fuckity fuck, probably not on desktop, right? And I'm just because I'm a badass, I'm going to hit post. Well, it posted. Oh, well, whatever. They're used to me. I should just disable comments on it and see what happens. Nah, that's all right. But no, anyway, if you're... That was fucking whatever. But usually they would, on the mobile app at least, they did run these experiments before. And obviously they seem to have turned it off. So it will be interesting to see, because I think most people just went, well, no. Also, I'd like to note my problem with LinkedIn. They do not even have, you want to talk about fucking corporate culture and psychological manipulation? You cannot laugh on that platform with a reaction. Is that not everything you need to know about fucking HR-driven corporate culture right there? I call HR the fucking corporate